Okay, well, so we've got Survivor. We're going to survive. We're going to eat bugs and all be men and alpha. But then there are other reality, they called it, programs. They call it reality shows for a reason. They want you to think it's real. Like Israel, which really wasn't real until 1948. If you do your history fact-checking, it's not real. But anyway, I digress. This is my Auntie June, and she was so depressed. She was a nurse from the United Kingdom, a registered nurse who came over after the Second World War. And she met my Uncle Chester and married him. She was a war bride. And, they had 2 beautiful kids and whatnot. She didn't work. I don't think Uncle Chester, I think he was a man about town guy, you know what I mean? A never-do-weller. Yeah, but he had a lot of women and stuff. Lot like my dad, I guess. And Uncle Chester and my aunt had these 2 kids, Vicky and Wayne, which I gave them different names here, but Vicky and Wayne were their children. Now, Auntie June was a very colorful woman from the UK, and she loved joy. Like, she loved company, she loved entertaining, and when we would go through Alberta, I think they lived at some point, we'd stop and visit, and she was so much fun. Like, I loved her. And later on, when they moved to Vancouver, well, after she divorced Chester and married a guy named Major Tom Jameson Quirk, which you can Google his name, Major Tom Jameson Quirk. It's a major with the RCMP in Canada. And she met him and married him. And he's the guy who taught me how to smoke. But anyway, these 2 characters, my Auntie June and Major Tom, were significant in my life, in my journey, in my story. Like, it wasn't a small part, because I saw the big picture when the beings of light came. And they are earth angels. And things line up, right? Later in life or before or whatever, they will line up if you let them. But if you're constantly fighting and hiding and trying to hang on to things that don't belong to you, that anything that is hard to hang on to, let it go. Let it go and relax. And this is how you can learn and begin to progressively relax your body. I'd love to teach you how to deeply relax. Like, have you ever gone into such a beautiful state where you just don't want to move for a while? Where you feel heavy and it's too comfortable to do anything else but just sit there. Have you ever just sat there and relaxed and breathe? And that is how you slowly bring yourself. You're bringing yourself there, right? This is self-hypnosis. If you didn't want it, you hang up on this, right? But you want this. You want to feel peace, and you want to relax, and you want to retrain your body so that it can relax, so that your brain can relax, so that your other side of your brain can grow. Because congestion stops. Distraction stops our focus. And I'm saying that if you can stop yourself from certain thoughts, you can stop yourself from those feelings that will manifest into your biggest fear. You know? You don't want that, guys. Anyway, she lived her life with Uncle Chester, then Major Tom. And then she decided when she retired, turned 65, and got old age security, she could go to school for free and just get a master's degree for free. Did you know that? It used to be anyway, if you're over 65, go get a master's degree. So she did. And I remember when she was writing her thesis, it was on early childhood education. And she was also a nurse, remember, trained from the UK. She wasn't a stupid woman. She was bright and colorful and aware of her surroundings. She came from a war. She was hyper-aware of everything. And she knew the education that she was learning was wrong. And she had a grandson. That's her daughter, Vicky's, it's her son, Wayne's young boy, had cystic fibrosis. And the doctors told her that, and the son, I guess, Wayne, and his wife, that they couldn't have any more kids. Not to even try. Get sewn up right away. You cannot have kids, these doctors said, because he's got cystic fibrosis, and that means it's in the blood forever and ever. Amen. And so they didn't, of course, because it's hard to have that. You're in the hospital all the time. All the time. My little cousin Ryan, he went through hell. As an infant, a baby, a child, a teenager. They said he wouldn't last till 20. They gave him a death sentence to 20 if he didn't have an organ transplant. that's all they all were going to get was 20 years. The cystic fibrosis guys. There was a lot of them at that time. And needing an organ, right? And my aunt was at that hospital with him all the way. Like, she really, like, grandmas love their grandsons, eh? A lot. If she would have had them first. Because, you know, she really loved her little Ryan. And then she was doing this thesis for her master's. And the messaging in the education programming, she said, was off. And suddenly, she found herself depressed. And she ended up in a residential psych ward it's a huge building in West, a rich building, a wealthy psych ward, I guess. And she was on the 7th floor. I never went to visit her there. I did not want to see her in that condition. And I just got reports from my mom that she was depressed. That's all my mom ever said. I was curious, like, what the hell? I wonder if Major Tom, the military guy, was a real asshole, maybe. I don't know about it. Maybe that's why she's depressed. I couldn't figure it out. But I didn't go see her. But on my 40th birthday, my mom went to get her at that care home and bring her to my condo where I had a big reception area down on the main floor with a huge pool and guest suites. And my mother and Aunt June came to stay in one of the guest suites. And I had the party, my 40th, at the pool. And my Aunt June was there with my mom. And she came running up to me with this blister package of medication. There were 20 types. Now, there were only 19 filled, but there were 19 drugs she had to take in that 24-hour period she was allowed out. 19 different drugs in 24 hours. How are you going to keep your shit together with all that? Psychiatric medication, this can be fact-checked, removes feelings. You know, any feeling. It lobotomizes you. It takes away your feelings. It lobotomizes you. It takes away your feelings. And so if you know people who go on these drugs to feel better, they're feeling one mood, like the monotone guy who knows everything I know. Ask him. I was listening, and he knows the whole story of the world. But he's saying it in monotone tone, in such a gloom, one mood, misery way. But he is extremely popular. and I'm not. Because women are not man's favorite person and the least likely to be heard by a man. I have been mansplained life, all my life. All I have to do is give an opinion about something, and he feels very confident in telling me how wrong I am. When he's a monkey from Planet of the Apes here. And all day, every day. Not anymore. Not since I announced I was God. Now all of a sudden the men shut up. Because not only did I take the name God in this simulation, I'm as invisible as God, and I'm the only one who took the name. You can take any name you want. In fact, I will tell you my past life. I'll tell you about, I'll give you a handful right now. This is who I feel I was in past lives because they were all the freaking same. That's how you can tell that the emotional theme and the soulmate are the same every life. And your character is the same every life. And this is my life. These are the ones I remember very well. No, not very well. Emotionally, I remember. And I get triggered. Mary, Virgin Mary. And no, she was not a virgin. And her son, Jesus. Yes, we were. I'd give you the whole damn story. That one I can tell you. And I've never read the whole Bible. Never, ever. But I could tell you all about it. And I could tell you about the Old Testament that should not be with the New Testament. But that's a later date. Or one I did in the past.